All right, hello and welcome to the Mentors Masterclass. My name is Dan Gerke and I want to welcome you to the call. My guest today is the unstoppable mama, Miss Rhonda Swan. Rhonda was once a corporate office drone until one day she saw a fellow co-worker being reprimanded for doing the unthinkable, making her family a priority. I say that tongue in cheek. And that was the day Rhonda vowed that when she had kids, she would never put herself in that position. And she started down the path of building her own business from home. And now it's a few years later, she's a very successful entrepreneur. She's a marketer. And more importantly, my favorite word, she's a freedompreneur. Rhonda, are you here with us?
What's happening, buddy? Thank you, Dan, for having me.
It's good to have you on the call. I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this. Since we spoke I think it was last week, we touched base, and I know you were on the Marketers Cruise and it didn't work to get a hold of you then. So it's great to have you on the call, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about your story. I know a bit of your story, but I'd love it if you'd share some of your story for the audience today, and so the viewers can get to know a little bit more about you and what you've been up to the last little while.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was crazy because we were actually in Japan. We live in Bali, Indonesia now. So it's rather tropical around me right now. You can see my little Bali guy. And we went to Japan to go snowboarding to get out of tropics, and then we got stuck and had to divert to the USA because my daughter's passport was 5 days into her 6-month allowance. So like, you want to talk about being able to do a flip on a switch. We literally were at the counter getting ready to go back to Bali from Japan, and we had to divert right to the USA and stay there for 3 weeks because we had a marketers cruise that we were going on, and we just got back to Bali literally last week. So it has been a wild and crazy ride, but that's the greatest part about being a freedompreneur. You actually can do what you want when you want, and if you got your computer and if your business is automated, it runs. And so sure enough, I said, we gotta wait till I get back. There's no way I'm gonna be able to get this fit in with the chaos that we were running around in. But I tend to think that the life of an entrepreneur is, I think it's just settled around chaos because we kind of like ups and downs and the wild and crazy things that take place. But you know, it's so different, Dan, than it was for me. 10 years ago, actually, this January was 10 years, January 8th, yeah, that I typed in work at home mom because I did experience this woman bring her daughter to daycare, and it was really a sad moment. She brought a little girl, she came to a meeting and she was late, and my boss just ripped her one. And I was a corporate executive for a huge company. I'm like sitting in the back of the room going, oh my God, this is awful. This woman was just destitute. She was crying and she didn't want to be there. And the boss is like, listen, if you want this job, you're going to be on time in this meeting. And she said, well, I just had a new child and I had to drop her off at daycare, and it's really a hard one. And she's only 6 weeks old. And that was something that triggered for me. And I said, you know what? This is ridiculous. I'm not going to do this. And I realized that all that time going to grad school and building up this whole corporate, ladder, all it was setting me up for life failure, and I just made a drastic change internally in my heart. I went home, I said, okay, I'm doing something different. And so I did. I actually typed in work at home mom, knowing nothing about the internet. I think the most that had been happening, I was doing internal emailing. It was really, nothing was really going on. Facebook wasn't around, YouTube wasn't around. And, none of these social media platforms were even launched yet. And I just said, there's got to be a way. And so sure enough, I just started poking around, and I looked at a lot of different business models, and I thought maybe I should do a franchise because they're systematic. Maybe I could, have a brick and mortar shop. And like, no, I got to do something on the internet. And I looked into options, there's like low ticket, affiliate marketing and blogging and all these options. And I decided to become an affiliate marketer of a big personal development company because I love personal development, and it just triggered me. From there, I just got addicted. And sure enough, because of, what you get to learn and the marketing techniques and how to communicate better, I just realized, wow, I can do this and I can change my life. And so I just went full time and retired myself from my corporate position. I replaced my multiple 6 figures, retired my husband, Brian, from engineering about a year later. And now It's been 10 years, January, and we've been traveling around the world for 8 years. We're in our 8th year now. So needless to say, if you got a will and a way, you can make anything happen.
Oh, no, that's awesome. I love that. I love hearing the story about how you were able to set yourself free and start traveling. I think, you know, the first time our paths crossed, and you don't know this, but the first time I discovered what you were up to had to have been 6 or 7 years ago. I was doing some research online, doing some personal development. At the time, I was part of a mastermind, and we were building a personal development company, and I was doing domain name research and looking for things online. We were building a business around promoting affiliate programs for personal development. And I came across this gorgeous looking family talking about traveling the world and building a business from a laptop and an internet connection. And it totally got my attention. And I know I read through some of your articles and watched some of your videos then. And then you fell off my radar for a while. And then sure enough, a couple years later, our paths cross again, and it's great to be reconnected because I love your story. I love what you're doing. You're inspiring people around the world. You're doing great things. You're an awesome mentor to the people that are following you, and so it's fantastic to get reconnected and to connect one-on-one like this. You know, like you said, the technology, social media didn't exist when you got started. This ability to connect across the world. You're in Bali tomorrow morning for me already. It's evening here in Canada where I'm at, so it's kind of cool. My brother actually lives overseas in Vietnam, and so I get similar conversations with him. He's half a day ahead of me, and technology just shrinks the world. It's amazing what you can do online now that wasn't possible 10 years ago.
So true. It's wild, you know, to even think. I mean, my daughter's got her own Facebook page, her own YouTube channel. I mean, it's wild, you know, I mean, because, and what I love too, Dan, is when people really actually see the power of getting what your true voice is. It doesn't matter what kind of business you may offer, or maybe you are a coach or whatnot, but you actually understand what's really true to you. And that's why I love personal development. I think it's the foundation of any business, is you get clear on what am I passionate about? What is it that makes me tick? And I ask myself this question all the time, is then you really can start getting it out to the world. And then what that does, it just rolls on over to your family and your children. You know, so here's this technology didn't even exist. And here's my daughter with her little YouTube channel, giving wisdom of the days with Hanalei, you know, and she wants to be a clothing designer. So she's got sketches, and she's now wants to do her YouTube channel where she's showing people how to create cool sketches and clothing designs. I'm like, wow, I would have saw the possibilities like this as a child. Think of the entrepreneur children we're raising just because of these type of platforms and because of what we're all learning now. So I think social media is just changing not only the world and how small the world becomes, but it's also changing the mindset of the children of the world too, that they can create and be so much greater of a contribution to everyone around them.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's fantastic that Hanalei's already of that mindset. My daughter's 10 now, and she saw me blogging, and she asked if she could start her own blog. So she's got a blog set up that she's been writing on. We went on a bit of a road trip this summer down to the States, and the book she wanted to take with her was Rich Dad Poor Dad, which was one of the first books I read on my path through personal development. And, you know, I think it's just an amazing testament to the opportunities we're giving our children now. I think I know they're growing up in a different world than we grew up in. I think that old industrial age model is broken and it's not serving people anymore. And the sooner we can show our kids possibilities, the better. And so it's fantastic to hear that Hanalei is already embracing her passions and sharing the things that she's passionate about and loves to do. And I think, you know, that's going to set her up well for the rest of her life because she's tapped into that at such an early age. I mean, I wish I had been introduced to personal development when I was 5 or 6 or 7 years old.
I mean, just think about how your daughter's going to be. I mean, that's the same. We listen to an audio book every day on the way to school, and it's hilarious because we ride motorbikes. You know, we ride our motorbikes with our helmets on. And we listen to audio, and this month, you know, we usually do like one a week, but it's like The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. We're in Anne Frank right now, you know, and you know, The Traveler's Gift. I mean, these are killer books that I only picked up when I was in my late 20s, that now these 8-year-olds and 6-year-olds, 10-year-olds are reading, and they're understanding these concepts, that they're free thinkers. And I just, it blows me away, because they're no longer now relying on, you know, the ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, and the parents that tell them what to do. You know, they're thinking now that they actually have control. And we see we're just raising better citizens, you know, to the world. And it's exciting. It's exciting to see what these new next generations are coming up with. And I think that's why they're growing so quickly. You know, like you said, the industrial age, it's not how people really have to live anymore, you know? And so now we have these generations, these kids are gonna start creating apps and companies, you know, because the technology is so simple to learn. And it's powerful to think. And I always like to encourage all families to really dig into personal development, expose their kids to as much as they possibly can, because, you know, to me, that's what raises higher awareness thinking and children that are contributors opposed to takers, you know?
Absolutely agreed. Yeah. Yeah. One of my mentors likes to talk about how it doesn't really matter what business you're in, but your success is going to be 95% determined by what's in your head, your mindset. And that's where personal development plays such a huge role, is getting that mindset right and believing in yourself and knowing what you can accomplish. So speaking of mentors, who have been some of your biggest mentors on your journey? I know you mentioned you got online 10 years ago now and started searching on your own, but I'm sure there's been some mentors along the way that have contributed to your journey and your success that you've had. Who have been some of your big mentors?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's when I started entrepreneurship, my very first book was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Kiyosaki, and it just opened my mind up to so many other possibilities. I never thought in terms of quadrants, right, of understanding the investor's quadrant, the business quadrant. I didn't even know I was in the E quadrant, which is the employee quadrant. I didn't realize any of this stuff, and I'm like, what? I don't want to be stuck in that corner, you know? And then you go into the investors quadrant, it's like, wow, so many great things open. So Kiyosaki, for sure, was one of the very first books that I really read that just shifted my mindset. And then we, you know, really started to dig in on the spiritual side. I always do two things. I'm a Gemini, so I need a spiritual side and I need a business side, right? So I'll do my Deepak and my Wayne Dyer, because they've really expanded my mindset to possibilities. And that's just really changed my thinking. And then on the other, you know, my business side, I lean towards Tim Ferriss, who inspired us to actually take this leap of faith, which was traveling around the world and living a 4-hour work week, which all entrepreneurs know it's no 4-hour work week, and you can create some systems, but I like to work because I love what I do. But we took Tim Ferriss's message a step further, which was really creating systems to allow you to, you know, to really work for you, and that you can do everything mobily, eternal, like not having to ever go back. And Tim Ferriss, that book, The 4-Hour Workweek, did change our thinking. I mean, it was like we were just going through mad real estate. We went into the investors quadrant, went into some bad real estate development deal, and found ourselves completely upside down. The developer, you know, took a lot of the money and ran most all of it, and we were, you know, standing going, oh no, well, now what have we done? We've built an awesome business, and now we've invested everything we've got, and now we're stuck. But we realized that we weren't really stuck. We could just get out and create a new life. And so we just sold everything. We took the 4-hour workweek mentality and said, let's sell it all. Started off with like $23,000 to our name, and but we had our online business, and that's what really helped us keep going. Personal development and the will to succeed. And sure enough, we thought it was 2 years, and now it's been 8 years that we've been traveling the world, and we'll probably never go back and settle living in the States. We love the culture too much. So Tim Ferriss is one of my left sides. You know, I've got my, you know, your right side, which is your more, you know, I guess you're my more spiritual side. And well, actually left side of your brain is your more, you get your left side and your right side, your spiritual and your analytical side. So I kind of run on both sides of those. But I love, you know, Trump, no matter what people say about him, he's a jerk. The guy's just straight up business. And sometimes I just dig. He gets me in that, like, when you get all soft, you're like, oh, I want to help everyone. What you do? You're like, no, I want to help the ones that are willing to help themselves. And I'm going to give them the tools and they got to run with it. Right. So that's sometimes how I dig Trump's style, because he gets me like, all right, you can be huggy kissy for so long, guys. Get your butt in gear, because that's kind of my style. I was an athlete, and so I Ferris and Trump always have been on my push side of the business, and I really, Richard Branson's inspired me because he's done so much, and some people have they have an opinion about everyone, but I think that Branson's just really done some cool stuff. He lives an adventure life. He's invested, he's jumped into areas that he never imagined being able to be successful in, and have failed multiple times, and have also lost, probably failed more than he's actually gained. But, those are some, I always go to my spiritual side and my business side. So those are two of the two sides of the mentorship that I have followed. And of course, I've had some personal people in my life. One of my very first coaches, I played softball all growing up. I was played for the Women's USA national team. Our team actually was the one that really jumped into the Olympics in Atlanta. I was too old and went off from there, but we had a powerful group of ladies. And my very first coach, she bought me my first travel bag, and I went on my first European tour when I was 16. She's like, you can do it. And I was just an average player, and because someone gave so much belief in me, put me in front of better coaches and better opportunities, I excelled. And I think that those are the kind of coaches and mentors you want in your life that change you forever. They change the way you look at things forever. And I will be forever grateful to Coach Callahan. She pushed me to that level that allowed me to think bigger.
That's a huge lesson right there, is just having people in your life that see your potential and encourage it out of you, and bring you up to higher levels than you see in yourself. And so that's phenomenal. That's one of the reasons that I seek out mentors on a regular basis, is because they're people that are playing at a higher game. They've accomplished the things I want to accomplish. They're living the kind of life that I aspire to, and so I want to surround myself with those kind of people. And it's, a big part of the reason why I do interviews like this, is that I get to surround myself with people that inspire me.
That's right. Exactly. And you got to get out too. I always tell people, don't get locked behind your computer. You got to go to events. You got to invest in yourself, because you never know. You're like 1 inch away from meeting that next joint venture, or someone that gives you a piece of advice that just like, what? I can do that. Changes everything. I mean, it truly does. And that's why we really focus on going to so many events. I go to, I have an event almost every month. I fly across the world to go to events, because I know there's so much to the other side of that fence that's like ready to, share with me something powerful. So it's good.
You're not just talking the talk. You definitely do that. You are traveling the world.
That's right.
You just got back from the States. You're back in Bali now. I'm sure you're going to be back in the States again sometime soon. Pretty unreal. Yeah. But that's the environment to surround yourself in, right? That's where the growth occurs. So one of the pieces that I know is part of success is failure. And so a question I have for you is what has failure taught you about success?
That's a great question. I always look at, I failed more times probably than I've succeeded, but every time I failed, it's allowed me to reflect. And, when we did a big real estate investment, that was a huge leap that we were taking. And we liquidated everything. We thought, yes, this is going to change our future. It's going to change our family's future, parents, grandparents, all of them. We were retiring everyone and putting them in homes. And what it did is allowed me to really learn about myself. And every time I fail, I look at, what have I learned from that? What could have I done different? And instead of saying, why me? Why did this happen to me? I say, why not me? Because every time we fail, it brings our levels up of tolerance of what we can handle, right? So we're always being able to challenge ourselves more. And as I fail, I realize that I probably could have done something a little different. It allows me to make a slight sail adjustment. You know, it's like when you're tacking and as a sailor, you know, you just make that one little tack and it changes your whole course. You know, but then you can always get back there. See, so many people think that failure stops them. So you may be going on this course, but it's just not the right course, and you tack over a little bit. But then if you have that end goal in sight, you can still get there. And that's something for me was what blew me away when we invested in our business. We thought we were, you know, going over here to live this perfect life. But what happened is we had to fail in order to start traveling. So this tack brought us to our perfect day, our perfect life every day that I thought I was going to get by investing. But instead, I probably would have gained a bigger burden, which would have locked me into never leaving my house. I had all these investments and all this stuff. Now I'm like, I'm free, you know? So I always look at things that happen in our life and failures. There's like, just look at why that happened and then how to still get to that end destination, but just maybe do it a different way. And typically the way that we see where our journey needs to go is always different. You know, that one line pattern isn't true. It's a big squiggly line. It still gets you there, but you learn along the way. So failures brought me to more successes than I could ever imagine. So I welcome failure. And because my tolerance level's gone up, I get through the failures so quick. They don't even feel like failures. You know, there's like quick lessons. Okay, go. You know, and so I think that that's a big lesson for others to take. That knowing you're going to have a learning curve no matter what you do, you will fail. It will feel difficult, but you just know that you'll go through those normal phases of even grief, right? You go through and you're like, oh no, why did this happen? And you're like, acceptance, okay. And it's like, okay, now I can do this. And then boom, you start moving forward. And then it's, you know, you start over again. My favorite author, one of my favorites is Andy Andrews. And then he says, we're either, and excuse my languaging, but this is what he says, you're either going into a shitstorm, you're coming out of one, or you're in one right now. So just know, no matter what, you're either in it, you're going in it, you're coming out of one, and embrace all areas, because that's how you're going to learn the most and be able to grow the best.
I think, was it Winston Churchill who said that success is just going from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm? So
that's right. That's exactly
there is no straight line. I don't think
No way.
It's a winding journey. So you touched on a little bit that you had a vision for where your life was headed, and it looked like the path to getting there was one thing, and life threw you a curve and ended up being a completely different journey to get there. What's one thing that you see with the people you work with on a regular basis that you see people are being held back because of fear, or they're afraid of taking that big leap? It was no doubt a big leap for you guys to sell everything and start traveling the world. That's not something that very many people will take on. So what's one thing you see people being held back by, and how would you encourage them to move forward?
It's typically, I see that most people don't move forward because they actually don't have a belief in themselves that they can do it. That's really the number one killer for anyone going after what they want. And that's why they end up settling, whether it's they settle for a job that they hate, or they start doing something that someone else gave them idea that it's good for them. And it's because typically it's what our belief is in ourselves. And if we just look at ourselves and say, you know, if they can do it, I can too. And it's just about gaining that inner faith and taking the steps along the way to keep moving forward. And that's really, I think, the crippler of most people's passions and dreams is that they lose belief in themselves. You know, everyone has a story inside of them. Everyone has a legacy to leave, but it's, do I believe that someone's willing to listen? Do you typically most people think that someone's going to say you're a fraud, or you don't know what you're doing, right? Or judge them. And when I started to get really clear that others people's opinions are none of my business, right? Then the only opinion that mattered was mine. And so that everyone's going to have something to say because their own fears, they don't say it to hurt you. It's their own fears being pressed upon you, that you just got to know that everyone's going to be an individual. You just got to go for it. And you find someone that's done it. You know, I found people that were doing, you know, having successes similar to what I wanted. And I would just say, okay, what did they do? And it wasn't get a mentor and tell them to tell you everything everything to do. It was, no, that you keep the belief in you. A mentor helps keep the belief in you that you can do it, and kind of gives you some tools along the way. So I think that the biggest fear stopper is it's just lack of belief, and that someone's gonna give them an opinion that they can't take. So, you know, entrepreneurs have to be strong. You've got to know that failure is gonna happen no matter what, and that people are gonna have opinions no matter what, and that their opinions don't matter. And if it's something that you believe in yourself, you're gonna fail. I mean, I remember telling my friends, hey, I quit my job, started this online business. And they were like, whoa, they still don't barely talk to me, most of them, a lot of them. My first friends, my best friends, because they don't get it. But what they didn't get is that their opinion didn't matter. Their friendship mattered to me, but their opinions didn't. So what happened is that they allowed that to wedge in between us because I was not willing to listen. And their own fears kept them in their jobs, putting their kids in daycare and living that same daily mundane life. And some people are okay with it, and that's great. I don't judge that, but it's the ones that want to go, oh, this is ridiculous, so I can't do this, are the ones that internally are hurting the most. So you got to know that. You just got to be aware of what other people is going on in their life and go, hey, thank you for your opinion, but no thank you. I'm not taking it in. And just know to yourself, you can do this. You can do this. And every day, I have a mantra, guys, every day when I started this online world journey, I was told in a personal development program I purchased to write down, you know, my own personal mantra every day. And read it every day, every morning, and every night. And that's a Napoleon Hill method as well, right? And every day, I say, I am a successful entrepreneur. I inspire people to live their dreams every day. I have energy and passion to live out my true purpose. I can do this and I am unstoppable. I say that every morning and every night because I know if I believe it in my heart that what I say, others will believe it too, because what people need is they just need a glimpse. And that's why being a mentor is so powerful. And it's not that we choose to be mentors, it's just that we keep living our life. We become a mentor to someone because we are believing in ourselves. And if we can do it, then they're like, huh, I can do that. And that's why I'm committed every day. I do videos nearly as much as I possibly can every day to let people see reality on social media, and that you're gonna have ups and downs, but that gives people a glimpse. And I've got thousands and thousands of people that follow us, and most I never have talked to. You know, I didn't know that you followed me 6 years ago, right?
Yeah, and earlier today I was watching your video while you were heading out on your motorbike to go do some videos. So that
yeah, that was right everywhere.
I don't do enough. I do have a YouTube channel and I've got quite a few videos out there, but that's one thing I know I could do more of because people really connect. Video is just that next level that you know, people feel like they know you from watching your videos. It's pretty real. It's hard to hide through a video. People get to know who you really are and what you're about, and people want to work with people that they know, like, and trust. So that's a great way to build that authority or that level of trust with somebody, that they just want to do business with you if they resonate with it.
That's right, and that's the thing, you know, because it's not just, and some of it's self-serving, right? Because you've got things you want to share with people, but then it really, if you realize, it's more selfish to not do video. And on social media, it's really one of the best hubs. I mean, you know, if you think of the, you know, media channels like text or image and video is the #1 way to not only increase engagement, increase the like and trust, but it actually helps build ROI in your business, because that trust factor, people buy from people, I believe, Dan. They don't buy companies. So, you know, I've always been someone that personally brands myself. You know, I've worked with a lot of affiliates, and I've been an affiliate for many, many years for other companies. I've never talked about the company that I work with because I don't feel the need to, because if people trust me enough and they believe in my loyalty and my integrity, that whatever, you know, maybe it's a product or a service that I offer, they're going to trust in that. And that's what video does. It helps people get who you are. And it's not just these super sexy, fancy videos. I've built 7-figure business with an ARM video in my iPhone. You know, back in the day, it wasn't an iPhone. I would take them and it was like ridiculous. Download, upload, all this crazy stuff. But you know what? I knew video was where that would help people connect. And I even use more video on Facebook now than I do on YouTube, because, you know, it's just a great social platform. My following is on Facebook mainly, but, you know, video is where people they get to know who you are. And when you stumble and fall, trip over your tongue, say silly words, be real. A lot of people hide behind, you know, really sexy videos all the time. It's not true and real to them. And I like the ones that are just pure transparent. Like me riding my motorbike, all dressed up with makeup on, dripping sweaty, getting the mud in my toes, you know, like that's reality. That's what my freedompreneur life looks like, you know.
And that's what people want to watch. I know I'm thinking about a video that I put on one of my first websites. I wrote a script. I had it all scripted out. I think I even found some teleprompter type software that would scroll it across the screen so I could read it while I was filming it. And I'm kind of embarrassed by the video now because it's stiff and awkward. My videos now, even this video right now, I need a new camera on my laptop here. I got a new laptop and the video's all grainy. I'm not real happy with that, but you know what? It's real, and it just is what it is. And people connect better with that. You don't come across as somebody in a studio who's all prepared that nobody can relate to. You know, those kind of videos somebody looks at and said, well, I can never do that. That looks like TV quality video. I don't have the equipment. I don't know how I would ever do that, so I can't do it. Whereas some guy sitting in his home office with a video off a laptop, everybody's got one of those, or a smartphone. Everybody's got a video camera in their phone now. Billions of people around the world have smartphones now. So it's not inaccessible. It's completely possible.
Absolutely. I agree. And that's what makes the world, that's what social media is doing. It's allowing us to be so real and connect with the world in a totally different way we could ever imagine being able to do. And I love it. I think it's one of the best ways for people to, you know, not only build their passions. So I love, you know, blogs. It allows you to do a video, post it up, talk about what you love, and then share it on social media.
So what do you say to the people who are, you know, we talked a little bit about this already, that there's people out there that are in the corporate world that love it, all the power to them. And then there's those people out there that just are hating life. You know, I was in that environment 7 years ago. I was surrounded by a bunch of coworkers who were counting the days to retirement, and unfortunately the days were in the hundreds and thousands, and they just hated life. And I didn't want to be in that environment anymore. I was missing my kids growing up. I was hearing about all their milestones when I got home from work and they were already in bed, all those kinds of pieces. And I knew there was another way, there was a better way. And so like you, I got online and started doing research. I started going to seminars. I started reading books, all those pieces. So what's your number one encouragement to somebody who's looking to make a change?
Ask themselves, what is it that I really want? You know, the steps, those steps, you can take all the steps, but you have to get just really clear, what is it I want? My husband, Brian, actually created this program called How to Create Your Perfect Day. And it's just a 30-minute video that he walks you through, you know, asking yourself those questions. And it's amazing to think most of us don't live our perfect days. And if you just ask yourself, how do I want my perfect day to look? And if you can write that down and create a structure around that perfect day, there's a lot of ways to, you know, build, you know, independent businesses, or maybe somebody does like their corporate job, but their perfect day is, you know, maybe working more at home. Create that. But what is that perfect day look like? And it's not just like that perfect vacation day where you're laying around drinking cocktails all day on the beach. Like, you get pretty bored doing that. I'm sorry to say, I can't do that all day. What does your perfect day look like? You know, like, what do you want to do? What do you want to contribute? Who do you want to help? How much time do you want to spend with your kids? What freedoms do you want to have? If you write that perfect day out, who are the people you want to spend it with? you can then start really creating some big steps forward to you creating and living that perfect day. And it just develops as you write it. You can actually get, I think it's, yeah, I should let everyone know that it's just a total value. You can Google how to create your perfect day by Rhonda Swan. And it's amazing. It's a YouTube video. You put it together and it's like, we've got hundreds of thousands of people that watch this video, and it's changed people's world because they never thought that way.
It's a great video. I've watched it at least a couple of times. In fact, very similar. I've done that process a number of times. One of my other mentors suggested doing your ideal business day or work day, ideal day of work, and your ideal day of play. So then you cover both bases. And I've got it written out here in my gratitude journal, and I review this on a regular basis. But that's a fantastic exercise. I love that exercise. I'm glad I was introduced to it a few years ago because it really helped me get clear on what do I want my life to look like. And it doesn't happen overnight. You don't snap your fingers and you know, fairy dust surrounds you and all of a sudden you're living your perfect life. But you take steps towards it every day. And before you know it, your life is totally transformed, it's amazing.
Yep.
So I want to respect your time. I know you're a busy lady. You've got calls going on. You've already been on a call this morning, and it's bright and early over there in Bali. One of my favorite mentors is Zig Ziglar, and one of his quotes says that you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. So how can I help you? How can people find out more about what you're doing and the path you're on with the Unstoppable family?
Yeah, for sure. You guys, I mean, call our mini office Facebook. So you can actually find us on Facebook. You can explore our family's journey, unstoppablefamily.com, on our blog. That's our travel blog. It's kind of where we talk about things travel. And Unstoppable Mama is my personal blog. That's where I like to talk about, you know, the social media and the ways to build businesses and my philosophy on building businesses. You know, we host live events. We actually have one coming up here in Bali in April, so we're excited. We just had one in August. It was crazy, wild, and awesome. But we love to host people in live settings and workshops and whatnot. And we're on a mission. This Freedompreneur mission is to help more people become free and be freedompreneurs so they can stand on their own 2 feet and develop themselves. And so you can find us through Unstoppable Family, Unstoppable Mama, and then, of course, we have our Freedompreneur movement that we have been just building and building, and you can find all of that information on our blogs as well. It's just another way to help encourage our freedompreneurs to totally step forward in their life.
That's awesome, and I'll definitely make sure there's some links to those pages wherever you're watching this video, whether it's on YouTube or on my blog or social media. There'll be a link somewhere that'll get you there so people can come and find out more about not just the Unstoppable Mama, but the Unstoppable Surfer and the rest of the family, which
right, and Unstoppable
are fantastic.
There we go.
Flies around there somewhere, I'm guessing. But. So thank you very much for being here with us, Rhonda. I really appreciate you taking the time. It's great to connect one-on-one like this. I'm grateful for your time, and I look forward to catching up with you again soon. I hope you have a great day, and all the best.
I will. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I always tell everyone, have a great one and be unstoppable. We'll see you
Great way to finish.
Office.
Go be unstoppable, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye, buddy. Thank you.